Hello and welcome back to Curating Simple, where I share on a variety of holistic health and lifestyle topics for you to learn from, relate to, and enjoy. My name is Alexis, and in this video I'm going to be sharing a handful of tips on how to get started training your new rescue dog. We are on day 5 or so of having our new adopted dog Vega, a 9-month-old Doberman Pinscher German Shepherd mix pup, home with us. We brought her home last Tuesday evening, and right now it's Sunday afternoon, so it's been approximately 5 days that she's been home with us. And yeah, I'm feeling really good about her transition into our home, into our family, into her new forever life with us. And her training is going very well so far, and I'm super excited about that. I'm very pleased with that. She's a beautiful, sweet puppy dog, and she's just doing incredible with her training. So I thought I would share some of the things that I think have been helpful for me in getting started with this. I am not new to being a dog owner. I say our, as in mine and my husband. Our older dog that we have, he just turned 13 recently, and we've had him since he was about 6 months old. But unfortunately, neither of us really prioritized obedience training. He's always been very well-tempered, pretty well-behaved, but unfortunately, we just didn't really do a whole lot of training with a specific system or strategy in place over the years. So at the, now that he's in his later years and we have a new dog that I am very serious about having well-trained and well-acclimated to our home and making sure that she has good manners, I'm also working with our older dog on some of his obedience training and manners, and he's also just picking it up so well. So yes, you can teach old dogs new tricks. So if you hear any background noise, jingling, licking, funny sounds, I have Vega here on her bed next to me at my little table desk, and she's licking peanut butter out of a Kong. So she's having quite a good old time with that. Okay, so some of the tips that have been, or some of the things that have been really helpful for me, and I hope that these are encouraging, motivating, and helpful, useful tips for you. Let's just kind of get into that. So the first thing I would say is to watch dog training videos on YouTube. This is like a free, super easy way to just learn really what are some of the best strategies and techniques and systems to use for training your dog in a way that they are going to fully understand what you're trying to teach them, and also to help build your relationship on a really firm, solid, positive foundation. This is something that you can learn a lot about from a variety of different kind of trainers. And I do recommend looking for a variety of trainers on YouTube who just kind of explain dog psychology, how they learn, how they understand, and also what that relationship dynamic between you and your dog ideally should look like, and how to start building that the right way from the beginning. And I intend to make a video here very soon about some of my favorite channels and dog trainers that I have been watching on YouTube, so that you can explore some of their resources and content and also get started on that journey of training your dog. So beyond just looking for training videos on YouTube, really make this a point to study it. Take notes on some things. Rehearse how you might do this with your new dog, especially if you don't have your dog yet. I highly recommend doing this before you get your dog. And another really helpful thing I think you can do, using YouTube and the internet as a resource, is to research your dog's breed. Do as much as you can to learn about what some of these traits and characteristics of certain breeds and maybe breed mixes can be. because there's a whole spectrum. Some dogs are really bred for guarding. Some dogs are really bred for like just being happy-go-lucky, friendly to everybody, right? But then within each of those breeds, depending on how you build a relationship with your dog and how they are trained, certain behaviors and characteristics can pop up that are not ideal for you to have in your family or in your lifestyle. And so just making sure that you are being proactive in trying to learn as much as you can about what your dog could potentially be like. What are some of those inbred characteristics that could be highlighted and kind of maybe triggered through certain scenarios, or just through like who that dog is and what their personality is. So do your research beforehand if possible, or very early on in getting your dog. Or if you feel like you're kind of at a point with your dog, like maybe you have a senior dog and you would like to correct some of their behaviors, learning about their breed, just like really observing what are their motivations, what are their drives, you know, do they really like to chase squirrels, or are they really motivated by food? So using some of those motivators to your advantage and being proactive as you can in educating yourself and putting systems and structure in place to support you towards reaching your dog training goals and the goals that you have for the relationship you have between your dog, you and your dog, like with other people and that sort of thing. So the other thing I would say is a important tip, and especially so with a dog that you might be adopting or bringing home from a shelter, or maybe that's being rehomed into your home from a previous owner, and that would be decompression. So there's kind of a general rule of decompression that I think helps people to remember it pretty easily, and that's the 3-3-3 rule. So I'm just going to frame this, or like put this in the framework of like an adopted shelter dog. When you bring that dog into your home, they're stressed because one, the shelter like kennel environment can be really stressful, and two, like you're a complete stranger. They have no idea who you are. And so, and your home, like everything is new and different. And especially too, if you have other dogs in your home or other animals or pets or whatever, being just like thrust into a new environment and situation and having this like stranger who's now handling you all the time, it can be a little stressful. And certain dogs, depending also on their temperament, on their history, on, you know, training that they have, they can be a little bit more stressed or more afraid of that I've got the baby jumping on my back trying to get out. Afraid of, you know, that transition and the new environment and the new people in their life. So giving that dog a safe space and plenty of structure and positive reinforcement, and really feeling confident yourself as their handler in that you know how to like counteract certain maybe problem behaviors or fearful behaviors with certain strategies and like training techniques, that's really going to help your dog start transitioning into their new life and into their new environment and family. So the 3-3-3 rule is basically your dog goes through a period of like decompression or de-stressing and really starting to blossom and develop as the dog that they were always meant to be. So 3 days usually is like keep things to a minimum. Don't do so much like talking and fussing over them. Like really just let them take in sights and sounds and smells and see the people who are in their family and in their home, and hear some of the sounds, you know, the vacuum, the blender, the water running in the shower, things like that, without just like throwing them into it. And one of the best ways to help your dog in the decompression phase is to give them a safe space, like a crate. Using a crate early on in getting your dog and in your training, this adds structure. And so over the course of the 3 weeks, adding in structure and routine and things that help your dog realize like, okay, you're pretty predictable, you're pretty consistent. And then over like 3 months, they say is like, that's kind of when you start to see like exactly who that dog is. And especially if that dog was maybe more stressed or more fearful, and kind of like shut down after being adopted and brought into your new home. So that 3-3-3 rule, you can look it up again on YouTube, on the internet, and learn more about that. But using a crate in that time, setting up routine and structure, and being consistent with the way that you're handling the dog from the very beginning is going to be invaluable. I really took this serious this time around getting our new dog, and it's been just incredible. I think it's really helped her to learn that, yes, I am somebody that you can trust. Yes, these kiddos who are running around sometimes and screaming, or, you know, maybe like waving hands in front of you, like they're safe too. So as you're exploring dog training videos and resources on how to bring your dog home, get them adjusted to their new environment, start training them, decompression, you're going to hear about consistency. And sometimes people will say you need to have a schedule and a routine to a T with your dog. Potty time is at the same time every day. Food time is at the same time every day. Playtime, exercise, same time. I think realistically, that's not realistic. People live dynamic lives. They have, varying schedules often. So I think that's not entirely necessary to make sure that everything is done at the same time every time, but that when you're doing certain activities, you are consistent in how you're structuring things around that activity. So let me give you just a little example of how I have been doing things here, because I have an 11-month-old baby. I have a 5.5-year-old, no, a 5-year-old. She's not 5.5 just yet, but I have a 5-year-old, an 11-month-old, a 13-year-old senior dog, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. But sometimes we're out and about. We have errands to run. We have things to do. There's lots to do around the house. These kiddos need me to tend to them all throughout the day, and that doesn't always look the same. So whether you're at home with your new dog or your current dog, or if you are, at work, full-time, part-time, whatever it is, doing things at the same time every time I don't think is always necessary. But when you're doing a certain activity, like say the dog has been in the crate and it's time to go potty, the way that you structure the interactions around that activity of going potty, that can be consistent every time. And that will be enough consistency and routine and predictability for that dog. So as an example, when we do potty time, I don't really acknowledge the new dog in her crate until I have all my stuff on and I'm ready to go. Then the first time I interact with her, it's the same kind of expectations and interaction each time she's let out to go potty. So I'm ready to go. I've got the leash in hand, ready, and I tell her to sit. She sits. I tell her to wait. She does pretty good at waiting. I open the door for the crate, prop it open. She waits. I put the lead on her, the slip lead, and then once I've got it kind of secured and tightened to where I need to, I say okay, and I let her out. Then I tell her to wait when we get to the door. She waits. We're working on that, but she waits, and we open the door and we go outside. We go down the steps. I tell her to wait as I open her fence to her potty area. We go in, she does her thing. We come out. I tell her to wait while I close it. We go up the steps. I tell her to wait while we're at the door. We come in, she comes in, and then she always goes back into her crate. After potty time outside, she always goes back into her crate. If she's been out in the house and we've been doing training, or maybe we went on a short walk, introducing her to the neighborhood and seeing how she does and working on training in that environment, every time she's done with a training session or a potty session, she goes back to her crate. It's not, okay, we go indoor potty or indoor training session to outdoor potty and then crate, or potty session to indoor training to out the front door to inside to crate. It's always one thing, crate, one thing, crate. So potty, crate, indoor training, crate, outdoor training, crate. The crate is always that consistent framework or structure that gives her predictability of, okay, I come out and then I go back in. And even if she's in there for just a short while and then I want to do an indoor training with her, she always goes back into the crate before we transition into the next thing. Because she's so new, she needs that, maybe it's 10 minutes, maybe it's 5 minutes to just okay, I did something, I'm done, process that a little bit, cool down, relax, Yeah, so that's where I'm building in that structure and that routine and consistency is not necessarily like at the same time every day you go potty, we do indoor training, we go on a walk, like we exercise, but it's the structure around those activities is always the same. So in order to be consistent with your dog, sure, you might have that pretty prompt, timely routine. That is totally fine. But building in that routine and structure and framework around the activities and the engagement and the training you're doing with your dog, that can be enough consistency. Or that can be a way to add even more predictability and more consistency and really reinforce some of those like positive obedience trainings. Set the dog up for success, set them up to be rewarded and positively reinforced so that you only have to use, you know, negative reinforcement or correction, which some people think is negative, but when you add them together, like that just creates like a balance in their training. Let's see, what are all the things that I've covered so far and see if there's anything else that I missed and want to share. So doing your prep work, learning about training, learning about dog breeds, learning about decompression, and being consistent with training and structure and routine, however that looks for you in your home, in your lifestyle, and with you and your dog. Okay, what is the next helpful thing? Okay, I think the next helpful thing would be to have your setup ready to go. Make it easy for you to fill your treat pouch with kibble. Make it easy for you to refill their water. So our setup that we have, our new dog's crate is near the back door. It's in the living room. And there's a like wooden crate on top of it. This has a jar with some kibble, so I can just quickly fill the kibble pouch. Our other dog food container is not far. It's just on the other side of the door. Having your tools handy and having your setup organized and making it easy for you to get all your gear that you want for your training and, you know, attach the dog to the leash. You don't have to go all the way to the other end of the house to grab it. It's all right there. So we have a crate, it's got leash, it's got toys, it's got food, it's got food bowl. I've got some extra gloves. I even have my jacket on top of the crate. So anything that I think I'm going to need is very close by in that area where we do all that transitioning. Everything's conveniently positioned and placed and organized so we can just get right to it. The last thing I'll share, since you have your training prep done, you have your breed research done, you have your decompression information and setup and like plan kind of in place, and then you have plans for consistency and that routine and structure, and then you have your setup like all nice and organized, right? And then what are some of those tools that are going to be handy for you when you start training? Okay, I'm just going to kind of give a brief overview and look at some of the tools that I'm using. You will have to determine what is best for you. And based on maybe some of the training videos you watch and the research that you do, you might find that these tools are not ideal for your situation, or they might not be as helpful as they are for us. Whatever it is, these are just things that I'm using and that I think would probably be helpful for the majority of people who are watching this and interested in getting started training their dog, whether that's an older dog, whether that's a dog you've had quite a while now, or a new puppy, or an adopted shelter rescue dog. So I guess I'll just start with this little thing that I have right here. So I don't even know how to pronounce this. It was from Amazon, Ruoxuzu. I don't know. That's probably funny, but this either clips onto your belt or your waistband. There's an option for a clip to go around your waist with a band. And I believe these ones here on the side, I haven't used them yet. I've just been using the belt clip one. I believe these ones are something that you can kind of do like a crossbody over the shoulder kind of thing. But I'm really liking this one. I forgot there was this zipper on the front. I was like, I know there's lots of pockets on here. What can I put in here? So this one on the front I've been using for my phone. It's kind of a big phone, so I put it in there. I haven't used this zipper yet because I just forgot that it's there. But there's a spot for poo bags, super handy. Back here, I have some gloves. This was something that I wish I would have had from the beginning, but I had my husband pick them up for me last night. These are just some vinyl gloves. They're nice and thick. Make sure you get ones that fit you and they're not like super loose and too big. But this just keeps like kibble and dog slobber and maybe yucky things that, mud that's on the leash, like it keeps that off your hands. Before I started using these last night and today, I was constantly washing my hands and the backs of my hands just became super dry, and then they start to like crack and get like little owies on there. So I was like, husband, I need some gloves. Thank you, husband. One of the things that I really liked about this particular pouch, and I looked at so many different ones on Amazon, is that inside is a silicone pouch that very easily just like clamps shut. Super easy. I can do it with one hand while it's still in the pouch, but you can take this out and wash it. So you're not like having to wash the fabric pouch itself. So yeah, I really like that. And I'm gonna just put it right back in there. And then there's also like a little drawstring. So you can pull it up like that and you can drawstring it if you feel like you need to do that. I have not really used that at all, but I could see how that might come in handy for various reasons. So one of the things I really liked too is this belt clip. I'm often wearing the baby in the carrier, and on this front band, there's a spot just right in the center where the band is like sewn on either side, and this slips right on there, super easy, because often my waistband of my pants, oh, there's a toy. The waistband of my pants is underneath this front belt, so this was just kind of nice how it fits perfectly right on there when I'm wearing the carrier, which has been a lot of the time. So yeah, something like this, super, super helpful. Okay, the other thing that I've been finding incredibly helpful, especially with like recall, but also giving the dog a little bit of like space and freedom, but where I still have control, is a long line. And I think I have a 15-foot slip lead. So this gives the dog like some freedom and some space, helps you to manage them while they have that freedom and space. You can work on recall, calling them back, and just making sure that they're never too far from you. You're never having to like chase after the dog, which is a bad idea. Does not set you up for success in your training. So keeping the dog on a slip lead is really great because it also applies that like tight pressure when you need to on their neck. So make sure you like just adjust it to fit them properly and to where it doesn't get too tight. So I really like this one. It's been great. The only thing I would say that's probably a little finicky about it is if the dog kind of like circles around too much, or if I twist it around too much, it kind of starts to like coil up. That's just, I think, the weave of the nylon rope leash. But having some kind of long line slip lead, super good idea. I also have a long line clip-on leash. I've been using that one more so for our older dog just because he's a lot slower pace. He doesn't really like yank his like collar off. But the slip lead I'm always using with our new dog. Whether we're in the backyard or whether we're starting to walk up to the mailbox or walk into the neighborhood a little bit and go on those kind of outings together, she's always on that. I did try her, I think yesterday, on our regular like 4-foot collar that we use inside the house, or leash that we use inside the house, but she got a little spooked by one of the cars and almost slipped out of her collar. So back to the slip lead I went with her. That's the other thing, is make sure you have a collar that fits properly and a dog tag on that collar. So if you happen to lose your dog, or they run off, or they get off, or get loose somehow, that hopefully somebody can find them, capture them, and contact you. So that's probably essential number one. But yeah, so I have the long line slip lead. I have the long line clip leash, but that's more for our older dog. In the future, I will very likely use that with Vega, our new dog. You got your treat pouch, you got your poo bags, you got your gloves. I use her kibble that she's getting right now Next thing, obviously a crate, like crate training, super good idea to do that. But as far as like training goes, either some sort of kind of elevated dog bed, kind of like the one that she's on right now, or a cot of sorts. This will help with the place command, but you could also just use something flat like a towel. But having an elevated surface emphasizes that place a little bit more for the dog. So having some things like that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yep, the other thing is we have a 4-foot house line, or just a regular 4-foot leash with a handle on the end. Anytime she's in the house, she's on that. I don't want to use the big long lines in the house because there's not really far for her to go, and we're always very close to her, handling and supervising and that sort of thing. And some things like toys. Your dog's probably going to like different kinds of toys, or maybe they don't yet. Some toys that will help to add value to you, so that the dog sees you as a valuable person, and that they are motivated to listen to you because you have things that they like. That's going to be all for this video. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in more videos like this, then please do comment, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, share with a friend. I am not a professional dog trainer. There's so much that I've been learning. There's so much that I have to learn. There's a lot of polishing up that I need to do with my own techniques and things like that. But these are just some of the things that really have helped me feel confident getting off to a good start with our new dog. And it's a very exciting and really fun, rewarding process and journey to be on. So thanks for being here. You will see me in the next video. Until then, take care.